everyone, Karen Roby and Danny Palmer here for ZDNet. As usual, we're talking security, Danny, and so much ground to cover here. When we're talking about 2020, new report coming out about the last quarter of 2020 and analysis of the trends, cybersecurity, what people need to know, where we're seeing the attacks the most. One thing really important, I think, to start with here is, and you say it in your article at the top, people are the new perimeter.
Yes, one of the key things, obviously, when it comes to cyber attacks, things like email, messages, a key part of cyber criminals disputing these things. But in many cases, for a certain example, if a cyber criminal is sending malware, the malware isn't going to open an email by itself and run itself on the target system. A person needs to be on the other end of that, for the attacker to do their thing. Hence, this is why phishing emails are the most popular vector of attacks, because it lures the victim into opening something that looks like it's either interesting or legitimate. So it could be sort of something saying, "Oh, this is an offer," or "Pay attention to this," or it could be an email saying, claiming to be from your boss, for example, then saying, "Open this." Then it says, "Oh, in order to do the thing we're telling you to do, click this link or open this attachment," which is where the malicious code is hiding in these messages. And the person has unfortunately played an unwitting role in executing that code on their system. They might not even see that anything is wrong initially. They might just think, "Oh, that link didn't work," or "that was strange." Or in some cases, for example, when you have to enter when it's signing into Microsoft Office, you have to enter your credentials. Some of these emails will do a thing where they'll ask the person to reconfirm that they're using the right details. And by entering those details into the fake Microsoft page the attacker may have sent, you've given your email and passwords to the attackers, which is something which is often the first stage of quite intrusive campaigns. I think like ransomware attacks and espionage attacks.
And that's the scary part and the frustrating part of this, Danny, is that social engineering. I mean, this is something that's been going on for forever. People are manipulated, and unfortunately, even with this, and as much as we talk about it with suspicious emails and things like that, when your front line is still, the person is there, they just still sometimes fall victim.
Well, yeah, manipulation has been something that's been around pretty much all of human history. Mm-hmm. And criminals have been using it as a method of getting people to do things they want them to do for a long time. It was just nowadays, you don't even need to be in the same room or even the same country as someone in order to do it. It's especially now, as a lot of us are working remotely, we don't even have that contact with our colleagues where we're in the office together. So all of our contacts is being done over messages and email. So in the past, when you may have thought, well, this email is a bit weird, and you could send your colleague across the desk and go, "Did you send me this?" That's not really an option now. I mean, maybe you could send them a new email, or you could send them a message via Slack or something like that to ask. But if you're doing that for every single email you're suspicious of, you probably spend half a day doing it. So it's a tricky thing where people, unfortunately, because of the circumstances they're in, are open to being even more manipulated than ever, and cyber criminals are taking advantage of that.
Yeah, they feast on the times when people are vulnerable. That is for sure. Talk about a little bit about threat actors, Danny. You covered a good bit of that in your article here.
Well, yeah, a lot. Many of these attacks are by I suppose you call them your standard cyber criminal groups. They're doing these campaigns, because they want money. Ultimately, at the end of the day, obviously ransomware is still a very popular way of making money for cyber criminals, because it's a quick and easy way for them to be able to do that. Your files are encrypted. Give us $1 million in Bitcoin. Easy money. There's also business email compromise, which plays into this, very much the email side of things, where the attackers will pretend to be someone or a contact, and basically ask you to transfer a large sum of money. I mean, this isn't going to be, often this isn't going to be out of the blue. They'll use a period of time to gain some trust from you, so they, you know, that you think they are really who they say they are. We see this a lot, you know, with things like lots of, you know, B2B contracts, that sort of thing, where, you know, these can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they can build up that repertoire between the victim and themselves before eventually asking for the money. I mean, sometimes these attacks even involve manipulation to the extent, as I touched upon in the article, that they will, you know, somehow breach someone's email, and they will sit there, you know, observing who this person sends, you know, emails to and from. So they could get to a point where they think, okay, well, this company person X deals with could potentially be a strong contender for, you know, one we can ask for, you know, a payment from. You know, so they could have seen the real back and forth between the real people. Well, you know, they can come in and, you know, see what might even be a real exchange about business contracts. Then, you know, in the last minutes, take over the account themselves and say, and basically redirect the wire transfer to a bank account they hold. And it's something which is, again, it's not easy to spot until someone, the person you're supposed to send money to, a week later, did you send that money to me? And you're like, yes, I did. And you're like, no, you didn't. And that's the problem. And by that time, the money will be away by, you know, in the hands of a cyber criminal group, you know, again, often in a completely different country to where you're likely laundered somehow anyway.
Yeah.
It's quite rare for them to be caught in this way. Then obviously another type of threat actor or attacker, which, you know, we see, you know, involved in campaigns, not as commonly, but, you know, still elements of it, you know, as we've seen in things like the recent SolarWinds attack, is, you know, nation state backed hackers, espionage campaigns, that sort of thing, where they will be snooping around, you know, systems to try and figure out, you know, what's going on, or stealing information and that sort of thing. You might think, oh, why would my business, you know, be a target for hackers working out of, you know, Russia or China or North Korea or Iran, someone like that? But, you know, supply chains play a role here. You could be a small cog in a much larger supply chain. It could be that you are the organization that supplies a certain thing to a larger organization which has, you know, contracts in defense or aerospace where attackers want to steal IP from. So it's a very, there's obviously a lot going on in this space, and there's a lot to think about.
It is a lot to think about. It really is. It's quite terrifying. And you know, one of the things too we see a lot of course, is just the data being held hostage. I mean, huge healthcare organizations, you know, fall victim to this. And what do? You know, they get themselves in a terrible position.
That's the thing, you know, with, you know, things like ransomware in particular. You know, they have to make these decisions because. You know, with some businesses, you could go, okay, we can be offline for a couple of weeks. You know, not much is, you know, it's going to be bad for us. We're going to lose money, but, you know, that's, you know, going to be also the extent of what happens, you know, if we don't give cyber criminals money. If you're a hospital, if your network's offline for an extended period amount of time, that's going to affect patient care. That, you know, ultimately could, you know, affect whether someone lives or dies. So that's something attackers know about. So that healthcare is such a big target for you know, these sorts of campaigns, especially over the course of the last year or so. I mean, there are some cyber criminal groups that have explicitly stated via some sort of, you know, honor system that they will not target hospitals and that sort of thing. The problem is some of these groups have still ended up targeting companies involved in coronavirus vaccine supply chains and that sort of thing. So yeah, things like healthcare, there's a lot of money for cyber criminals in this space because it's got two critical things. A, you know, these systems need to be online, you know, for, you know, people to get the care they need, and B, a lot of the time these systems are working on technology that is not the most up to date in the world, or hasn't received security patches. I mean, one of the things we saw in recent years when WannaCry ransomware hit the National Health Service here in the UK, partially that happened because a lot of the Windows systems being used by the National Health Service were ones which were old and may not have been receiving security patches anymore. But because of the way the ecosystem is in the hospitals, the way it's funded here, so obviously all via the taxpayer, etc. Somewhere someone's made a decision going, well, where are we going to spend this money? Are we going to spend it on IT security or somewhere else in the healthcare system? And until fairly recently, it would have been somewhere else in the health. But this has caused an impact which is making those things be rethought.
Yeah, security definitely taking center stage in a way that it never has before, Danny, and that's a good thing. Well, much more of this, of course, in your full report up on ZDNet there. We appreciate you sharing this with us, and we're glad you guys were here with us today, and we hope you'll check out ZDNet for much more. Thanks for watching.